And we're back.
Hey, now, I don't understand what happened to the last story. Just the weirdest thing happened. So, we are now switching over. I don't like how that interrupted my story like that. So, but this one is insisted Karen be treated like a real person. So, I was an imaginative kid and had several imaginary friends, but my first one was different than the rest. When I was 2 or 3, I had an imaginary friend named Karen. My whole family knew about her, and I would insist she be treated like a real person. Unlike my later fantasy folks, my mom would hear me carrying on whole conversations with her alone, and was always a little curious where I had come up with the whole thing. It seemed more complex than toddler pretend, like I genuinely thought she was a person of that, and that people were being inconsiderate of her by not acknowledging her. Sometimes to humor me, my parents would out of the blue be like, "Well, hello, Karen," and I'd glare replying, "She's not here right now." We ended up moving, and once we did, Karen wasn't mentioned anymore. Since I was young, I don't remember too much, just a warm feeling like an old friend. My mom asked me about it when I got older, and I told her I could confidently remember making up my other later imaginary friends, Howard, the duck, and his girlfriend, Chuck. But not Karen. She told me she was always wondered if I was seeing something she wasn't, but no harm ever came of it, so she didn't worry. Well, I'm in my 30s now and was reading an article about a case that changed how soon you could report a missing person. As I read and realized it was sort of near where I used to live, and the girl was named Karen, I didn't think much of it. It was a city crime. It was a city. Crime happens. As I read further, I learned that Karen's murderer had buried her body in the town I had lived. At that point, not expecting much but rather curious, I texted my mom for the address of our old house, and it turns out Karen was murdered, then buried about 1.5 miles from our old home. Now, I'm not saying that I'm 100% sure that this Karen was my Karen, and the whole thing had happened a little over a decade before my parents had even bought the house. My mom had never heard of the case, and it was still would have long been out of the headlines. I still haven't found a picture of the girl, and sometimes I wonder if I'd recognize her, even though she died before I was even born. Regardless, the whole thing was a sad story, and that young lady didn't deserve such an awful end. If she was my Karen, it's even sadder her spirit lingered and only had a toddler for a friend.
All right. I don't know, because I believe a lot of kids' imaginary friends, the ones that be seeming real, they be real. You just can't see them.
I had
Like if your child ain't coming to you saying some off the wall shit like, "Oh, that's Davy," or that's peanut butter brown. Like if they come at you with a full on,
you want to say peanut butter brown?
like that's my imaginary friend. That's my imaginary friend Ducky, and it's a duck.
Mm-hmm.
Then you know it's bullshit. But your child look at you. That's my imaginary friend Henry. What does Henry look like? Oh, he's tall. Like they tell you word for word what Henry look like. He ain't got no abnormalities. Like he don't got one big eye.
Freckles, he wear glasses.
Yeah, he like a regular person.
Mm-hmm.
Henry really there.
Yeah, I believe that.
Y'all really seeing Henry. But I'll stop my child from that.
Why?
You tell Henry he gotta go.
You already stopped it. Stopping the progress.
No, what you seeing there is a ghost. That's a dead man.
Okay.
Henry died years ago. No, I'm going to tell my child like that. Henry died years and years and years ago. You don't want to see Henry. Because once you see Henry, then you got to see Henry's opposite. Dark Henry. Now, you don't want to see Dark Henry, do you? Wow. So if I were you, I would tell Nice Henry to go before his brother, Dark Henry, gets here. And then his sister, Bad Kaylee. And his aunt, Nasty Mama. All of them will just start coming, and then your life will just be upside down. You don't want your life to be upside down. You'll never get a job and have no friends.
Why you telling your child that?
You got to be real with kids.
So Sarah may not have been.
Because when I was a child, I was 40.
After all,
I knew what it looked like.
Not imaginary per se. I used to break into houses as a little kid. Oh, that's my fault. I lived in a really run-down part of town with a huge amount of foreclosed and empty houses. So I would pry off the window screens, and if the windows were unlocked, I would crawl inside.
I used to think about doing that shit, but I was never bold enough. I used to think it was going to be homeless in there.
Remember I told you when I was young, I used to do. I think I used to put myself in harm's way.
See, that's because I don't think you had the potential. You was looking for somebody that was going to take you to where you wanted to be. Show you the world, behold its wonders. But I'm not looking for that. I always felt like it was people in there. Even if it wasn't a person in there per se, it was a dead person in there. Really, somebody was in there. I've never been bold enough to do it.
So I was maybe like 5 or 6. Well, what?
I had groups of friends
5 or
who
6 doing that.
Okay, no. Where's your mom?
Exactly.
Where's your dad? Because I wish I would look out the window and see my child prying off the board window and going inside that abandoned house. I'm gonna sneak around the back.
Scare the daylight out. Okay. I bet you they'll go back.
And when I grab you, you still ain't gonna know it's me until the belt is whooping your ass. Don't you ever in your life pry off a board and go, because you don't know who could have been in there.
Yeah.
It could have been a full-on shanty town inside that place, and full of bums. Who you don't know, you don't know nobody's story. It'd be people that just coming through town. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, you did, and they done moved on to the next town.
That's how I believe. Many baby done been kidnapped, and because of somebody that people just been passing through,
and they be fucking opportunistic, and you just gave them the opportunity.
Yep.
That's why you supposed to
right on in the house.
You supposed to tell your kids stuff.
That's why
there are sickos in this world. Fuck all that keeping your child innocent shit. No.
Yeah, that is true.
The more innocent. I don't believe that.
That's why I don't tell Premier crazy stuff like that. Like when Premier was like, what's the crazy stuff she had said one day? She was like, I'll do this. And I said, no, honey. When you get kidnapped, there's a chance they could kill you.
Yeah, they will do things to you. Innocence is stupidity. Like, you walking around innocent, that you just might as well be dumb.
The crazy part is, how can you teach your kids to not talk to strangers, but then you want them to be polite? You know, you don't want people to, like, for you to just be. Then you tell your kids not to fight, but you tell them to fight. Whoever hit them back. You teach your kids that if somebody hit you, hit them back. But then you can't do that nowadays.
Every parent don't teach their child that. Some people say go tell somebody.
Well, even if you do tell somebody, now you a snitch, so now you get beat up for that. Either way round, you can get beat up nowadays.
The world is just fucked. I told you I'm an alien. I don't belong here.
Here you go. Okay, anyway. So, in one abandoned house, there was always this young Hispanic girl hanging out in the upstairs bathroom. I would go up there and she would talk to me, and we'd play tag.
You see that? That girl was not alive.
We'd play tag and hide and go seek. And truth or dare. I'd always invite her home for dinner, but she said she couldn't leave because she had to wait for her mom to come home. I guess it made sense to me at the time, but when I think back, there was nothing in that house, not even silverware in the kitchen or the drawers. The carpets were all mildewed, and it was seriously empty. I don't think she could have really been there. Her name was Sarah. I don't think she ever told me her last name. She always wore these cut-off tank top shorts. I really can't remember what, but I'm fairly certain they were graphic tees, and always these pastel orange spandex shorts. She had a bobbed hair cut where the hair was shorter in the back than the front. She was missing a couple of teeth in the front of her mouth. She was a little chubby, especially in the stomach. Oh. Tom followed him everywhere.
See, when I was little, I wasn't immature like that. I just had a certain knowledge of things. Like, bitch, what is you doing in this house and the carpets is mildewed?
Well, she don't.
Right away, like most kids are. See, that's that innocence. Of course, I remember being a child. My mom showed me The Exorcist, so my innocence died pretty early. So that could be another reason.
That's crazy. Don't put me in a
That could be another reason, but whatever it was, I'm thankful. Because there's no way in hell I'd have continued to have a conversation with the girl in the upstairs bathroom, because I'd have known right away she was a ghost.
So
what you doing in this empty house? Ain't even a plate in the damn kitchen. Who live here?
So as soon as I could start speaking, I had an imaginary friend. I called him Tom. I would set places at the table for him, talk to him during long bus rides, ask his opinion about things, and basically treat him like an invisible brother, even though I had 3 other siblings. I don't remember any of this. My mom grew concerned that I wasn't developing socially, so she took me to a child psychiatrist. This I remember. They asked me about Tom and why I saw him, if I saw anyone else in the same manner, and they asked me to sort out some stuff with puzzles. I stopped talking to Tom after that. Who did that? Fast forward 10 years. After her divorce, my mom gets really into spirituality. I thought it was a load of bull until she played the recording of a particular psychic reading session with me. The psychic was new and really interested in me for some reason. She said she saw a young dark-haired man watching over me. She asked if the name Tim meant anything. She asked if I was a Gemini. She asked if I had a large birthmark on my side. All this is correct. The psychic inferred that Tom, or Tim, and I were twins in a past life. The birthmark I carry is apparently how he died. To come watch over me in this life as a child. I could see him and interact with him, but I lost that gift as I was conditioned not to see him. See
that? Conditioned.
Conditioned. I'm skeptical of such claims, but hearing the psychic pinpoint such information made the hair rise on the back of my head. So I guess if you're there watching over me, thanks, twin bro. Oh.
From a totally different life.
Why would she see? That's why I said I never talked to her.
And they made him feel strange. Like when you got, I remember I used to tell my therapist, smooth. Yeah, I see ghosts. Like, and I used to, you gotta say it in a manner that leads you not to look crazy. Like if you come in there erratic, and you know you're sweating, your eyes darting back and forth, you ain't seeing no ghost. You're a lunatic. And anybody with good sense and good eyes can see it. Look at you. You're nervous. You're twitchy. What is you doing? Either you on speed or your mind is gone. Something. Mm-hmm. But if you come in there and you say it to, like, matter of factly, like I stayed saying it last night. Like I remember I told Nick, last night I was laying in my bed and my doors was opening by themselves. But my grandma's house is haunted anyway, so that type of stuff always happen.
And what he say?
Nothing. He didn't, because I wish he would have attempted to discredit me or make it seem like that was a hallucination. No, I saw the doors open.
Is what I saw.
And the hallucination will be whether or not I got up and slapped you in the mouth.
Why you lying? You know,
don't accuse me. It would have went down. I'll get up and I'll leave after cussing you smooth out in the worst of ways.
I remember you walked out on the session. Went downstairs in the lobby. It left me in that awkward situation. I don't like that.
I'm not into that. You're not going to disrespect me. I'm not into that. Because you're an adult. You know everything all of a sudden. You're not no genius. You don't know every fucking thing. Like, I hate that shit. Like, I hated that as a kid. People try, like, you know everything. You don't know everything.
And neither do kids, but they swear they do.
I knew a lot.
You were the one who swore he knew
exactly, because wasn't nobody.
I thought you knew everything.
Wasn't nobody going to tell me what I already knew, because I wasn't out here making dumb assumptions like your daughter, telling me weird shit that I know don't sound right. I was out here saying stuff that sound right.
What my daughter said.
Just dumb stuff, a lot of dumb stuff.
Whatever. Charlie was a little man who went everywhere. I had a friend when I was like 4. He was Charlie. My parents always asked what he looked like, and I always said a little man. He went everywhere with me, single child at the time. It was to the point that I would cry if my mom sat on Charlie while we were eating lunch. When we moved away, Charlie didn't come with us. My mom asked where he was, and I told her that he was going to be a mannequin at Sears. Years later, we found out that a little person had committed suicide in our house before we moved in.
So, see, that's what's be confusing.
So what's Sears?
I
thought you was going to say you was going to walk in there.
They went to the Sears and it was a little man. Yeah, that had nothing to do with
the Sears mannequin. I would have freaked out.
But
that would have freaked me out.
The thing that gets to me is how in the previous stories we was just reading, they was calling, screaming, help me, help me. Yet he is clearly walking around that house. See, I think people fuck up when you kill yourself and you still go in the light. Like you getting somewhere good.
Like on Daylight?
Yeah, you got to have the good sense
light,
to know that I have killed myself. Keep that light where it's at. And I'll see the Lord when the sky crack in the final days. That's when you'll get me. Because until then, I'm not about to sit in no purgatory or be tortured for however long it's going to take you to crack them skies, brother. So I'll be here on earth watching life go by. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. I mean, it do sound lonely. But you telling me it ain't other ghosts around? But they probably be just as stupid as I don't know what. Could you imagine being a ghost, like an intelligent haunting inside of a house that's haunted, but it's haunted by just like one of them repeat hauntings? Like it just keep replaying the same stuff, so you do see the ghost, but they don't see you. Yeah, they can't interact with you because they stuck in a loop.
They're miserable.
They stuck in a loop.
You don't even know where you at.
I know where I am,
falling down the stairs,
but you stuck in a loop.
Stuck with you.
Yeah, I would snap.
I
would snap eventually.
Stop.
Just cut.
Stop it right the fuck now. Like I would go
you
crazy.
Get it.
Man. That would make you
get it. Yeah, we're dead. You get it. Stop playing around with me. We are dead. The two of us. You keep jumping off the same goddamn stairs every day. Ain't getting no better. Ain't doing nothing different. You're dead. You're dead. We're dead. We the only two in here. We might as well be friends. And I can't be friends with you if you're going to be jumping off the stairs every day. How we supposed to build up a repertoire if every day?
When the man was dead and he took the other man, they was walking. Remember what was it? Ghost Whisperer?
Yeah.
I like that episode.
Do you remember that episode of The Haunting where that one ghost was holding all the other ghosts captive and that lady had that EVP of the
you're
ghost?
Not doing that to me.
She was steady talking to the lady, the EVP, and it was clear. And it was the actual recording.
Can they really stop you from...
I don't know that. That's what I be saying.
Right then, I think I'll jump into this ain't where I need to be.
No, I think that's a joke. We both did. I don't see how... It's nothing more. You can't... What you gonna do? Kill me more?
No, because maybe one is more powerful.
But what you gonna do? Kill me more? Choke me out?
I don't know.
I'm dead.
Like, you don't know what other spirits can do to other spirits. We don't know that.
Yeah, he probably can zap you, fry you up good. I do whatever you gotta do, brother. I'm dead, but I'll be damned if I'm gonna live like this and I'm already dead. I done broke free of all type of earthly bounds. You can't threaten me with anything. I don't see how you let another ghost hold you back. If I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. Otherwise, the people in this house gonna be uncomfortable. They gonna know it's a ghost in here. They gonna get an exorcism done, and we'll all be fucked.
You always saying that.
Just back off, pal. You stay on your side of the corner. Like, I don't see me being one of them ghosts. Like, if I live in a house and they got a child in there and it's a bad ghost, I'm not going to be that ghost that's standing in front of the child door doing battle with the evil ghost. That's your responsibility as that child's parents. I don't have time.
I would do that.
I might warn you. I might warn you. Be like while you sleep, I go in your dream and I tell you, you gotta watch it. Look to your children.
No, like you know how the ones be scratching them, baby. Like I flip out in there.
Yeah, not no infant.
Like, oh, what is you doing, sir?
I just don't want to be haunted in nobody's house. I don't want to be bound to no house. Like I want to be able to go where I want to go.
So anywho, this pissed me off. So when I was between 3 and 6, I had 3 imaginary friends. 2 were the usual little kid stuff. They were invisible and friendly, and I only heard them in my head. My third friend, she was not invisible. I could see her. I called her bra and underpants girl. Because that's all she had on. I could still see her in my mind clear as day. She looked almost black and white, like black lacy underwear contrast with pale skin and what I always thought was dirt around her frazzled blonde hair. I can't, and that's probably how...
It's not funny because that's probably how she died.
Yeah, they probably found her like that buried somewhere.
Bra underwear. She probably was raped. You don't know her story. That's horrible.
She said, I can't even wrap my head around how.
But why would she come back to that child like that?
Even been able to come up with a friend like that at 3.
Yeah.
While my other 2 friends were nice, she wasn't. She wasn't mean, just really sad. Constantly.
Yep.
If asked where she lived, and she'd say, those woods, point to the forest behind my house. I'd tell her she could stay in my house. Ain't that how kids talk? I tell her she could stay in my house. I tell her she could... She said that twice. Okay. But she just say, I can't. It wasn't a big deal. When I stopped seeing her either. That was it.
That was it?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. I wish I would have walked past my child door and hear them in the room telling somebody they can stay here, open the door, and nobody in there. Who you talking to? Prom panty girl. Well, you need to tell her we can't have no company. Ain't no company.
So
we don't got no room in here. I barely want you here.
That's a shame.
You in here inviting another mouth. You got rent money on the first for brawling panty girls? Do she have rent money? Do she have food money to go in on? Do you got light bill money?
She don't want none
water
of that.
bill? None of that?
She don't want none of that.
Well, then hit the bricks. Get her out of here now. In fact, tell her to go now while I stand here and watch you. Tell her to come. The time forbid. You got school in the morning. You in here talking to Brawling Panty Girl, and she inviting motherfuckers to stay in my house. I barely, brother. I'm trying to get you out the door, okay? I'm trying to get you out the door. You invite the next man in. Yeah, she can come in when you go out.
The skeleton dog scared off everyone. When I was a kid, young maybe 5 to 8, I had an imaginary friend that was a skeleton dog. It would race everywhere and always be by my side.
And it's a skeleton?
When I reached my destination, the animals in the woods around me were afraid of it, of course.
See that? That's a demon dog.
Everything is not malicious.
Let me tell you something. What is wrong with parents that they allow that their kids don't, already know on the inside when something is right or wrong?
You didn't do that to your sister, so why would you?
Mama, you didn't have to tell me that a skeleton dog was wrong. If I had seen a skeleton dog, I would not have played with it. That's not something that you had to tell me. Certain stuff just seemed to come to me natural. Like when the lady came around the bend and she just stood there. She was there, but I knew she wasn't no real woman.
But you wasn't scared either.
I wasn't scared of her, but I knew she wasn't living. Because you don't just walk from behind there.
But you said you talked, you played, she
was cool. She was cool.
You went on about your
but she was there. Well, that was because I would always get into like this zone where I was out there trying to start a fire with them 2 rocks.
I remember, oh my God.
And I would fall into it like almost like a trance where I would just sit there.
Smoke, you snapped. I said, boy, stop. You was happy.
Because I knew how to do it.
You said, now I can do it. All you got to do is hit these 2 rocks.
And I knew how to do it.
From that to 2 sticks.
And I would not stop until I got that. Mom, I almost set that back. That's why that hole is still there. Like when the grass grew over it, but you know how when you in my backyard, if you keep walking down towards the end, you can almost stumble into that like ditch almost. Like it's yeah, and that for a while that had burnt. She had to come out there and put that fire out.
What did she say to you?
She wanted to know how I started that fire. She asked me what matches I was playing with. I had to tell her it was not no matches. That fire was started from scratch.
You was tight. And I remember the first time you showed me, and I don't know why I was intrigued, and it had me doing it. And ain't do it yet. Still ain't know how to do that. I don't understand how you was doing that from rocks.
In our previous life, I was far better at starting a fire than you were.
Yeah, I wasn't like you.
I knew how to remember it.
I was different from you in our previous life, I was told.
Girl, you still need fire. That's a basic necessity. Can't cook, can't eat, can't sleep, can't boil water without fire.
You was doing it.
That's the problem. That's why you keep depending.
No, I don't. She lived there before. I had loads of imaginary friends when I was a kid, most of which were just most of my dolls and my favorite characters from books and TVs. But I remember one with a completely unique personality from when I was about 9 and living in Virginia. She was called Kristen, or something similar, and as much as I can remember, she lived in the house before we moved in, had long pigtails, and was close to my age. I don't think much of this until really recently when my parents and I were talking about when we used to live in that house. My mom told me that she used to hear footsteps and a child's voice coming from the upstairs while I was at school. And my dad told me he once found an old photo of a little girl at the bottom of one of the closets while he was cleaning it. Unfortunately, he couldn't tell me if the girl had pigtails. Why couldn't he? You know, pigtails?
Probably didn't remember.
So he was a black ball of energy. When my sister and I were young, we both had imaginary friends. We could both sense hers. It was like a black ball of energy. My sister claimed her imaginary friend told her wait, what? Something.
You better not say nothing crazy when that shit come back.
Told her it's her name. We played with her outside, and my sister talked our mom into setting a place for her at the table a few times. Eventually, our parents were uncomfortable with how convinced we both were of this imaginary friend and forbid all mention of her. Some years later, we learned that there had been a small group of Native Americans living in that area who had been wiped out about 100 years before. The name of the group was that which my sister's imaginary friend had said was hers so long ago.
That's deep.
Some Native American told you. So, when I was a kid, I had several imaginary friends. My first one was an exact copy of myself who would follow me around. Oh, that's her doppelganger. That's a doppelganger. My second friend was actually of a race of thumb-sized mutant children with rainbow-colored hair and superpowers. They had to leave their home planet because at age 10, if they were weak, they were murdered. What's that? You know about that type of stuff. Type of planet.
I don't know what kind of... That's somewhere where that child is from.
So they went to Earth, and I started to raise them in secret. The two main ones that started this whole elaborate story now teach at a camp made for the survivors, and there is a constant war feuding now. What?
See, this is one of the psychopaths that we were just talking about. Now, to me and the listeners, we can tell that this person is what is known as a schizophrenic.
No, they not.
Neither one of those things exist. Those that don't exist.
He said rainbow colored hair. How you know what he didn't see? It's this world, man.
But they not from this world. They not from this world. He's saying they from another planet.
Yeah, and you don't tell me that stuff don't exist because you have told me that these people walk the earth.
Yeah, they do, but
so why is it
they
true
don't
for
act
you to
like
say weird
that?
Shit? Like when a child says
that's not a child. That's an adult.
No, they said that's when he was a child.
Yeah, but he said, but the way he's speaking now, as if the war is still going on and he still see these people. He didn't grow out of it, which means nobody ever told him he should, which only allow his delusions to go further.
See,
and now he's a nut.
You are debunking.
I'm not. I'm saying he does see it, but because he's unmedicated. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm saying you need medicine to help it go away because some of the wires in your head got crisscrossed because your parents didn't tell you enough's enough. Most people, parents, when you playing with imaginary friends, you start to get too damn old for that nonsense. They nip it in the bud. Cut it out! Because the rest of society will deem you unfit to live amongst society. Like I am now deeming this gentleman who's swearing that these multicolored rainbow people are still living and they're still going to it. Didn't he just say the two that he raised? Mind you, he said he raised them. They teach at a camp that nobody else can see but him and the rest of the multicolored rainbow people.
He said, hold up.
That's a fruitcake.
He said, okay, so the two main ones that started this whole elaborate story now teach at a camp made for the survivors.
Now. Meaning now in this moment.
There's constant war feuding now.
Now, again. Right now there's a war going on between these people in their home planet.
How do you know it's not?
My God. Beam him up. Scotty, he is really gone. We here to talk about ghosts. This man talking about real phenomenon that he's dealing with right now because he unmedicated. And his schizophrenia is just eating him alive. It's just eating him alive. You gotta watch people like that. That type of person, you move into college, he be your roommate, you get the fuck out that room that night. You don't even unpack one bag. As soon as he say the first thing to you, you go right to your RA. Let's fix it. Let me do something today.
Imagine we move somewhere, the landlord say, well, we move here, and the landlord, was somebody knocking?
Mm-mm.
I thought I heard something knocking.
I'll be out the damn door that day. You can sit there.
He said, yeah, well, the two people that used to live here, they left, and they now work at a camp where it's a whole war going on. And I would say, who used to live here? And he get to telling me first they started off as two people.
Can I have my first month and last month deposit back, please? And if you refuse, I'm going to have to call the authorities and tell them what you in here saying to me and why I want to go. Because it's not an unreasonable request. I know damn well that you knew when you said that shit out your mouth that most people, and if you didn't know, that just goes to show you right there that you also don't have any control over social, you don't have no social skills. Because social skills would tell you that some shit you keep to yourself. Like, you know, some of the stories that you tell, like, you can only tell somebody else that you know that would understand. You take that weird shit to somebody else who may have dealt with you dealt with. Like you know, one of them circles they have for people that been kidnapped by UFOs, been abducted. They have like groups for them type people. Mm-hmm. You know them recovery groups. They meet like addicts. That's how they meet. But you know that they have meetings and shit. That's where you tell that story at, with those people. But you don't come around other people because you taking it too far. Like most people can bang with you. You say you seen a ghost. Some of them might even go as far with you to let you say you seen a demon. But when you start saying tiny little people who have hair the color of rainbows and that they're not from this planet, you start to lose most people because now you're taking it too damn far. And we doom your.
He said they work at a.
Okay, now I know you're a fruitcake.
Why do he gotta?
That's not normal. That he's not seeing that. I mean, he is, but once again, it's because he's not on his medicine. If he had his medicine, I guarantee you those people would disappear. They need to get him every bit of therapy. Every therapy offered, that motherfucker need to take it. Because any two time, no, he probably like 52 years old, still talking about he's seeing these people. and that's okay. That's all right. Most that don't make no fucking sense.
So, Becky says she hated her. I had an imaginary friend when I was 5 or 6. Her name was Becky Reeder.
See that? A normal fucking look at that. That's completely normal. That's completely normal. Becky Reeder. Not Becky Reeder didn't come to her with a unicorn horn on her forehead.
Now, do Becky Reeder exist?
Dark circles under her eyes and pink and purple tulip lips. She came to her as a normal person. Right.
So hold on. And she was maybe 8 or 9. Had curly brown hair and was slightly pudgy.
See that? All normal.
Her as a friend for about 3 years. She and I would hang out in the downstairs of my house in color, play with dolls, and sometimes play outside. She would never come upstairs though, and I never found out why. She would just go away when I went upstairs. One night she invited me to a party, and I was excited because she said I could meet her family. She had a mom and dad and grandparents, an older sister, and an aunt. She told me that the party was by the water, like a 10-minute drive from my house, and that it would be fun. I told her I couldn't leave, and she said we could sneak out. I started out the door when my mom heard and came to investigate. She asked what I was doing, and I told her that I was going with Becky to a party to meet her family. My mom told me I couldn't go, and I threw a fit because I really wanted to go. My mom picked me up and went to take me to bed, but I couldn't stop crying, so she brought me into her room to sleep in her bed. A while later, I calmed down and was just laying there watching the ceiling when I heard the noise by the bedroom door. Becky was upstairs, and she was standing there. I waved at her and whispered, "I'm sorry, Becky." And I whispered, "I'm sorry." Becky said, "I hate you," and walked out of the room. I never saw her again after that. I've tried Googling deaths in that area or asking around, but nobody knows anything. So it was interesting. I talked to my mom about it when I was older, and she said she was very alarmed because I was adamant to go to this party, even though it wasn't real. What do you think would have happened?
You was going to try to drown me so I could be with you.
That's
I don't
what
know
I
what
believe.
you got because you giving
That's
me too much
sinister.
aggression. Yeah.
And then you going to turn around and say you hate her?
That's the first thing you do. You resort to when I can't. We've been friends this long. That's
3 years you've been friends.
And the first time I can't do something you want to do that's off site. Did I say I hated you every time I turned around? Bitch, I'm going upstairs and you ain't there.
Like, I could have turned around and said that. I hate you.
I'm tired of every time I come upstairs and you ain't upstairs.
You talking about
I hate you, Becky. Go away.
You sleep and
you never stay.
Party and you never stay. I hate when I put the food down in front of you. You never
eat it.
Wasted. Then I got to hear my mom. I would have went in on her.
Exactly.
You talking about hate? Because I would have, in my mind, I'm thinking that's a real friend.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to you.
So I'm going to give it to you. Let me tell you what I hate.
First off, I'd have told Becky right away. It wouldn't have been no going to ask my mom or sneaking out. Where the party at? By the water? Oh, no. You know water's dangerous, Becky. A lot of people drown. You ever drowned? Like, when I'm telling you, you can ask anybody who knew me as a kid. I was weird. Like, I would not do certain stuff.
You're saying it like I don't know you.
Yeah, but, like, I mean, other kids, like Henry and them, you could ask these people. I never played no dumb
no,
shit.
No, you weren't a follower.
No, I'm not doing nothing dumb that I don't feel like is safe.
I remember,
they used to swing too high on the swing and jump off. Try it, Walter. No, so I can break my ankle.
That's what I wanted.
You tried it.
Out of all my kids, it's like everybody else got a story about what my friend did, and I want to do with my friend. And or always following what somebody else did. You to yourself was like you just marched to the beat of your own.
The hell y'all doing dumb shit like that? I'm not jumping off no swing after you just swung up. Maybe once I was like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
I used to do that.
No, I don't think I jumped off a swing like that until I was 15 years old.
I did that shit the first time. I used to do it when I was a kid. It used to
not
be fun.
Me.
It used to be,
that was not fun, soaring through the sky. Who the hell am I? Lily Potter? And when we find out that she knew Severus as a child? No. The hell is this?
Why would you say that?
Because that's real. I can't cast the momentum charm. There's no way in hell I'm going to soar through the skies at a slow tempo. No, when I jump off, I'm going to come down with all the inertia of gravity. Huh? Hit that fucking ground. What goes up must come down. And y'all doing it, laughing and giggling like idiots. You know y'all look like retards. This is exactly why people don't want kids to have nothing. Because y'all do dumb shit like this. You can't be trusted to vote. None of that because you're immature. That's the problem.
Yo.
And then storm off to the house, leaving my friends baffled and staring because I have given them all the emotion of a parent. I'm not doing none of that dumb stuff with y'all. Come on, let's go around the corner. For what? Ain't nothing around that corner but older kids and trouble. I'm going in the house since y'all going around the corner. See you tomorrow. They say, come on, you still coming outside to play. Y'all don't see the sun going down?
Stop.
No, come on, we allowed to stay out till the street lights come on. Well, I'm going in before the street lights come on. To see, you're late when you're on time. You're on time when you're early. I go in the house early, that means I'm on time. I ain't had the street lights come on at any time, and y'all still be running around talking like y'all didn't see them. I don't need the street lights to tell me when it's too late to be out.
I want a situation tomorrow.
Come on, get back to the next story.
Can you buy it? I'm gonna buy it.
No, I'm not with all that. Next story, please.
I want some crabs.
People out here talking crazy. This man seeing purple fellas.
They vanished when the dog arrived. Okay. I remember that I was always excited and would rush to get to bed, something that a kid never does. I would ask to go to bed early so I could see them. My bedroom was set out in a sort of U shape. My bed was in the middle and everything was set around facing me. I didn't have a TV in my room and only had the basics.
I had my room like that, in a U shape where the bed be smack dab in the middle and everything go around it. That's bad feng shui. I noticed a lot more shit happen when I had my room set up like that. When I would move my bed closer to the wall, not facing the door. You know how you can have it on this side and the door be right across from you? A lot of bad shit would happen then. When I put my bed all the way up facing this way and the door would be off to my side, my TV would be off near the door, and then I have all that space over there, shit would stop. It would ease up. I ain't with that. You got to situate your room in a way that you know you're going to be comfortable. I turn and face the wall, that's all I'm going to see, the wall. But I don't like doing that either because I feel like then you on my back.
Yeah, I don't do I sleep any goddamn way I want now. I had to really,
As I got older, I learned I'd rather see you coming than have you staring at my motherfucking back the entire night and I don't see you. No, I need to know what you're doing behind me.
Yeah.
What you doing? What's it doing, Minxie? I'd rather know. I got to see you. I don't give a fuck if you jump out the closet. I need to see you. Because I don't like being surprised. That's what make it worse, the surprise. You can hear a motherfucker breathing down your back and you sitting underneath the covers with a little ass hole trying to get air, shaking and shivering. That's some nutty shit that I was doing as a child. I should have came from underneath them covers. Look, wait a minute. You ain't about to make me the fuck uncomfortable all night long. I wake up in the morning covered in a damp sweat, feel like I done pissed myself and I know I didn't. That used to be bad. You know when you sleep underneath them covers and you got that igloo shape, you wake up in the morning, your pajamas sticking to you because you full of sweat. No, I should have stopped that. I need air. Should have came from underneath them covers. Look, how we going to rectify this situation? Because I ain't getting back underneath them covers. And I guess if you going to stare at me, I'm going to stare at you. And so we just going to be two people looking at each other till one of us fall asleep. And since you did, I'm assuming it's going to be me. But I'm going to look at you all night long till I can't no more. So, they probably ran up to the edge of that bed. Oh, my God, I'd have jumped out that back window, killing myself.
Well,
impaled myself on the gate that was right underneath that window. Because if they would have ran or flew, like, you know how they hover, they glide real fast?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd have caught myself being bold, and they'd have glided over to the edge of that bed, yanked my ankles. Oh, my God, I would have died. I'd have moved out that house that day. You hear me?
Hello. I remember laying in bed.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. You done got me all worked up.
It being pitch black with only some light coming in from my curtains when two kids would come out. I don't know where from. They seemed to step out of the darkness and would sit on my bed and talk to me about my day, calling me a silly Billy. My dog Sophie would often come rushing into my room to jump on the bed. I would calm her down, kissing and petting her, but upon looking up, the girls were always gone. I think my room was being decorated with new wallpaper, and I stayed in my parents' bed for a few nights. They put me to bed with some warm milk, cookies, and a Disney film on their TV. The two girls would come out from my room and sit on my parents' bed and watch the film with me. I remember grabbing some cookies in my glass of milk and offering it to them, and one of them looking really happy, shocked, and the older girl shaking her head saying, "We can't." They both had white night dresses on and their hair was in a bun. They never had any shoes on, and they would come and see me almost every night up until I was 7. I honestly can't remember their names. This was over 20 years ago. They always seemed terrified when my dog would run into their rooms and vanish. My mom later found out that 15 years before, 2 young girls got attacked by a neighbor's dog in our yard and died.
They said, get that fucking dog out of here, brother.
Wow.
They said, you get that happy-ass spot, but a dog killed both of them?
Yeah, he probably was one of them, because back in the day, them dogs used to get rabies and go crazy.
And it just killed both of them.
You ain't killing both my kids.
Cujo style. That is crazy.
So his name was Tim, and he lived in the basement. Oh, another Tim. At 4, my parents divorced. My dad, with not many resources, moved into the attic of this comically pink house in the bad side of town. Step into the bad side.
I think that's just sad.
One day, he hung a tire swing from a tree in the backyard. I had a lot of fun with that. I know. Tire swings used to be the...
Didn't play on them neither.
I did.
Hell, I look like getting on the middle of that tire. What do I look like? A monkey at a zoo that you strapped up a tire and wrapped it up. I don't even trust that rope to hang on to that tree.
I can't remember. Do you ever remember going to Hocastle and Miss... What was her name? Oh, my goodness.
Miss Matt.
Yes. And how you... that should be slapped. Miss Matt and her mom. Her mom lived to be like 100 and something years old. She was so nice, but in her yard, because Miss Matt had the trailer.
Yeah.
But in her mom's yard that was like right across, like right next door.
Yeah, adjacent.
She had the tire swing in there, and
that shit was there when I was a child, and that's why I said I used to look at that shit.
Did you ever get on it?
Never once.
Why? It was not. And
I was not that guy. I was more of a porch swing. I trust that. It looks like.
And that's the crazy, because I ain't like porch swings.
I loved it.
I felt like, how is this little piece? Because it was like. You ever see how the porch swings is even hung up from the ceiling part? It looks so thin and like,
I used to sit on that, but I will not put my body on that motherfucking tire and swing back and forth.
I remember I was doing that.
I looked like an ape.
And I was up all in the air. Like, I love that one. And then I would turn and twist, and then it would be split. Like,
how sad it would have been for you if that motherfucking tree branch would have cracked you on top of your young head, and then when you finally fell, your legs got trapped beneath the tire and that ground and cracked your ankles in half.
You know what is crazy?
People don't have the forethought.
When I was younger,
you don't have the forethought.
And I would go there and be on that swing. I love that swing. Like, it was something that just gravitated me to
something
that
about her lake got me, and I couldn't swim for a lake.
Because you know what? And even by just the way that it looked like somebody died.
Yep, and that's why I would always stand there on the edge and stare.
I would just stand there and stare, expecting to see something come up. I swore one day I was going to see a lady. Did it ever remind you of a lady mine was a man. Coming out that water?
He was a man across. He across.
Yeah, you could see across the lake.
Yep, he was a man across the lake. I always felt like it was a man across there.
Like, let me explain this lake. First of all, it was a big piece of land,
and you could tell it was man-made.
And it was a real big piece of land because it had her trailer, and her trailer wasn't one of the little ones. It was big.
No, it was big.
And then her mom next door to her, because she moved her trailer on the land to help take her mom, so she had been there for a while. But her mom's house was huge. And it was all on that land, and in both of their, like, the backyard area of where it would be, because it was just land. It wasn't, you can't say it was a house, it was just land.
Yeah.
Because that one house, it didn't have no gates, no fences. It didn't look like a regular neighborhood. It was just
like,
land.
You could tell it was basically a rural
It looked
area,
like a rural
and she
country
owned
land.
a lot of land.
Yeah. And in the back of their houses was like this lake.
And it was man-made.
And it was deep. It was like you and then she had an apple tree right by the lake. So I would pull the apples off and throw them in the lake. Like when you get up to it.
Them apples, when I was older, them apples was always rotten.
Mine wasn't.
They was never fresh.
They was sour. I don't know. All I know is when you walked up like to the base of where the grass was right before it, either you can jump in or just slide the fucking, because it looked creepy. It looked like if you standing too close, somebody will push you in the back.
But the water was too.
But the water was black. Black, and I've never seen black. That's why I always was intrigued with that water. Like, what? That is not even a lake. Like,
and it was so black, like it almost looked like ink.
Oil. Like dark gasoline, oil. It never looked like it was.
It had a film over top of it.
Yes, I can never understand what was this before. Like, because what it is now is it looked like one of them creepy on the bay things.
It looked like somebody
where people show you, and at night you looking out your window and you just see
and you
like
ain't telling
somebody.
me Matt ain't never seen nothing.
Yo, she seen something at that whole place. Because
Matt back window was right near her bed. You can't tell me that.
Yo,
that screen.
Honestly, her trailer creeped me out.
Yeah.
It was something, I don't know what it was.
Her back screen, because you know how her trailer was big. It was weird because it also had that back den.
To me, actually, what made me afraid of it is it just didn't look safe.
Nope.
It looked like somebody could ride down that road.
Green Mile.
It looked like her mom's house now. That could be safe. Like,
because that's a house.
And then it seemed like as soon as you leave her house, you go up a little ways, and that's the outpour of like where the intersection and all that begin. She have a chance, but that one, it just looked like you could just go in the back of there and pull the back door open, and that's just it.
And you in.
Yes, that's just it.
Yeah,
I never felt like it was safe there.
her.
But when I went into her mom's house at one time, when I was younger, I remember my grandpa was visiting, and I just remember running all through her house. I don't know, because she was so nice. Like, she just was so nice. I swear she was the nicest lady.
And as kids
Miss Knotts, that was her name, Miss Knotts. And she let us just run around and play. No, everything was so old. Because she lived to be 100 and something. So her house had a whole bunch of old artifacts. And me, I was the type of child, I was an intrigued little girl. Like, wasn't always in people's stuff, but I liked old things.
Yeah, I like people treasures.
And I like to explore.
Touch people's stuff. I love it.
Especially
going in people's belongings.
When it was like old looking, like it couldn't just look like.
But what's crazy? And I used to have really bad sticky fingers. I never took a goddamn thing from Miss Matt house because I never wanted it, and she had plenty of knickknacks that I would have liked to take. You was better than me. I'm telling you. I believe a lot of stuff came from a lot of them hauntings that came from that house came from stuff Mama would get at yard sales.
Yeah, because a lot
things
of her
you take.
Yeah,
them was stuff that belonged to other people.
But they were like I used to love them.
And they were old ones.
And you couldn't. It was like
that dog and the lion. Them was something she got at a yard sale.
Do you remember it was a deer and it had diamond eyes?
Yup.
I stayed playing.
You know what else?
That.
You know what I think was haunted though?
What?
You remember those metal things? It used to be like 3 of them. They had like images on them. They was made of the same material of metal, like how you do booties, how they do their kids' booties. They dip them in whatever the hell that shit is, and they harden up. Mm-hmm. Remember, she had 3 of them. They was big. They was circular, and they had images imprinted on them. They was brown. She had one left when we was at the house.
Hold up.
They was big. Yeah.
They was golden.
Yeah.
And one looked like a family, and then one looked like some lions and tigers but they were like this.
Yeah, I think they was haunted. I always felt it. I always felt it. They always creeped me out.
I used to throw them bitches in the backyard like frisbees. I was very
That
funny.
woman wished the hell she would have caught me throwing them like frisbees in her backyard.
Let me tell you, I used to think they protected me because I swear, every time I would take them, right? I would take them. Because, she'd keep her knickknacks on the Venetian, what is that thing? On the brake front.
Yeah.
So she would tell you, don't touch her knickknacks. But for some reason, the specific knickknacks, the bear, It was like a whole family because they were brown.
Yeah.
And it was one bear. It was like
I know that bear. The bear that just stand on his two hind
Yup.
legs.
It was the bear, the deer, the lion.
I broke the deer.
The tiger, and I believe the elephant. For some reason, I would always sit them like right in front of my bed, and every time I did that, I never had nothing scary
That's
happen.
belief.
And as soon as she took them out,
Them was your totems.
to the point that I started taking them and putting them under the dresser. And you know how the dresser that's always been there back in the day, where you could stuff under there. That was my hiding spot. She would find them in there and take them out. Like anything that I felt like protected me. Like another thing that was crazy. My Cabbage Patch Kid, and this was back when Cabbage Patch Kids hit the scene. My Cabbage Patch Kid, Danny Parker. I remember.
There we go with that damn name again.
I will